All right, we are live. Greetings, fellow traders. Let me just tweet it out here so everybody can join in. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. We hope everybody's doing great and had a wonderful and blessed weekend and getting ready for a new week. So futures are already open. We'll take a look at those in a little bit. Good, good, good. And today we're going to be starting a new series. We're going to be talking about gap strategies, and today we're going to be talking about the gap and go. So gap strategies are one of the favorites out there, and we've talked about it before. We've done several videos on it, but I think it'd be fun to do a series on it, just kind of get a little bit in detail on each of the individual strategies, and hopefully you guys can apply them to trading and find some great success. Of course, before we get started, everything is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. And then we'll take a look at the market here and go over the topic and then take questions and chart requests. All right, here we go. So this is where we left off in the market on Friday. So this is the monthly chart. Big push last week. We finished up 75 points on Friday. So what that's doing is that's taking the monthly candle, the monthly chart up, very, very green right here, guys. I mean, if you just do a quick retracement, right, we are, from the all-time highs, and it's going to be approximate, from the all-time highs to the low here of this crash, right, we're over 50% retrace, right, we're approaching that 61.8 of the, of the March candle, we've retraced, almost 78, 78.6 right here. So, I mean, it's well over 60, 61.8. So huge retracement right there. We're approaching the mid-Bollinger Band on the monthly. We might find a little bit of resistance there. That's essentially the 20 moving average there, your mid-Bollinger Band. So we'll see how the monthly chart handles that. Again, we've got a few weeks left, right? Basically, just about 2 full trading weeks left, and earnings season is already kicked off. So maybe, although so far the earnings really hasn't affected much, JP Morgan reporting and the financials reporting with some horrible earnings, the market's still continuing to go up. So I'm not sure how much the earnings is going to affect things, but it still keeps things interesting, especially if for gaps, right? For potential gap and go. So that's what we're looking at there. Let's look at the weekly chart here. Weekly chart, great follow through from the bullish engulfing week. Last week we had a nice hammer candle where we basically closed at the highs. We got a little bit of a gap above right here that may get tested, and of course we have this inside week which may get tested as well. If we reject those levels, we may actually start to push our way back down. I mean, the reality is that despite the huge recovery that we've had, we're still below the 30 weekly moving average. Right? That's another kind of key change in composure area right here. So, I mean, we very well may come up there, kind of chop around it for a little bit, and then eventually break out, retest it again, and then work our way to all-time highs. So we'll see how that carries out there. Daily chart, bullish until proven otherwise. Right, we are still falling. We've broken out of the micro trend, the intermediate trend line, the macro trend line on the downside from the big down move. And we're formed a new trend line to the upside, right? So we're continuing to be bullish until proven otherwise right now. And we did close above the 50 week, goodness gracious, the 50 daily moving average right here. And we're heading up to the cloud, right? So we see this a lot. We talked about cloud trends, right? So this cloud trend is kind of an important area for us too, right? We may come up and tag this cloud. Right, and then reverse off of it, right? Because this shows where there was some big selling pressure off here. So it's sort of a reminder to the market that, hey, guys, don't forget we were in a downtrend right here. There was selling pressure here. We may see some selling pressure again. But until we break down below this trend line right here, you still gotta stay as bullish as stay bullish, right? So we may come back and test that trend line and then blast through the cloud. So we'll see how that goes too. So let's take a look at the price action on Friday. So price action on Friday. Pretty interesting stuff, really. So we gapped up. Okay, so it's kind of funny. We're talking about gaps this week, and it's every day is a huge gap, and that's the tricky part, right? So that's one of the things you kind of have to keep in mind, right? So are we gapping with the market, or are we gapping on some news or something interesting? But even if you gap on the market, right, you still may, still show relative strength. There may be news, and it's all about seeing where we gap to. Is really one of the big things, right? So anyway, so the market here, we gapped up, came back down, tested the 15-hour below, back to these levels, and then we had this beautiful breakout at the end of the day, right? You can kind of look at this as a triangle, or you can just look at it as a geometric line that we broke out of right here. Nice move for a big push into the end of the day, which is one of the things they like to do, especially on Fridays. I think it was monthly expiration too, so they like to push those things, oftentimes on expiration days. These are the levels that we provide to our members before each market open, right? So you can see here, April 17th. This is what we had to work with that day. So we obviously tested a lot of key levels right here. We had a prior closing gap right here. that was tested, right? Once we broke above this R3 level, we worked our way up to a weekly level, which was pretty cool. So good stuff there. All right, so today, like I said, we're starting a new series on gap strategies, and today we're going to be talking about the gap and go. So what's the gap and go method? So basically, the gap and go method is one where essentially you gap over a key level, right? And this is using the daily chart, right? You gap over a key level, and you just kind of go on the day, right? It gaps and goes. And so the idea is the levels that we look at, those key levels that we want to find, are essentially like this, right? A level like this. So if we gapped above this level, right? Say we gapped like that, we would expect to have some follow through to the upside, especially on the intraday basis, right? So that can kind of help. You don't see it as much on the SPX. We do see it on individual stock names, right? Especially with earnings and a lot of times on news, right? So that's what we look for. So why would a gap over these levels right here, especially, I'm not saying we did it with the SPX, but why would a gap over those levels be significant? Well, the reason is because where anybody who's short, right? Big money who's short, right? Where do they have all their money, right? Where do they have all their stops? They've got their stops in probably like tiers, right, above these major pivot levels, these major turning point levels. So if we gap above those, they're stuck, right? And if their stops were up here, then they have to fill those, they have to cover, right? And that's what gives the momentum to the upside, that short covering, and then plus anybody who's following the gap and go methodology, you work your way up, right? So couple techniques on that is if you gap above it, some folks like to enter right at the open. I like to wait for a candle of confirmation to get in. So let's take a look at that and look at a recent example. So Amazon. Okay, so Amazon had a huge move up recently. Let's take a look at it on the candles here. Amazon had a huge move up. Okay, so what was interesting is that it held up pretty well. While everything was really getting, oh wow, look at that too. It was also to a fib fan line as well. Fib fan high, fib fan low. Gotta love that. This is one we talked about recently. What a fib fan move on that one. Anyway, so came all the way down to a fib fan line, and it got really kind of consolidated right here, right? It got really tight. And anytime stocks, especially a big mover like Amazon, anytime a stock like that gets tight, right, and it starts to break out, right, that's something to keep an eye on. This was a great breakout candle over this geometric level right here, good volume, and so started to move up, right? It kind of moved up a little bit slow, but you had this open gap right here. We're going to talk about that more this week, right? Then we had a nice candle right here, which had decreased volume, but then we had this kind of little sneaky northern doji right here with some increased volume, and that was kind of your clue that, hey, these guys are kind of sneaking it up right here, and then boom, we had a big move to the upside. And you can see here, I've already drawn in the gap and go level, this 2185.95. What was that gap and go level? That gap and go level was the prior all-time high, right? So that's an important number, right? So anybody who's important level, so anybody who's short here, right, through this whole thing, right? They're done. They're like, okay, even if they're shorting in this day, right? Okay, no, it's extended enough. It's not getting over this level. If it gets over it, I'm getting out, right? That type of thing. Okay, so if we gap over this level, they're stuck, right? So there's a high probability that it's going to continue to the upside, right? So look what we got this day. This was on the 14th of April, and you got a huge candle this day, guys, on Amazon, 105 points. So again, you just buy and let it ride, that type of thing, or you can use some intraday candle strategies. So let's kind of zoom in right here and go to the 15-minute chart. Then we'll take a look at the 5-minute chart. So the 15-minute chart here, if we go back to the 14th, which is right here, so you can see, right, we pushed it up a little bit after hours, and it was looking nice, and we gapped up, right? So it pulled back a little bit right here, and then it came down. Look what it did, guys. All it did that day was pull back to the gap and go level, 2185.95. The low here was 2186.21. Got super duper close, left a lower shadow, and then just launched, right? So that is, ideally for me, that's where I like to see an entry on a shorter term time frame. So if you go here, if you go to the 5-minute chart and go back to that day, right, back to the 14th, you can see exactly what it did right here. This is perfect, right? These lower term time frames, when you have a gap and go setup, right, and you're expecting, that you're anticipating you want to trade this, right? So we gap up instead of just buying right at the open and getting really flushed out. I mean, this is a big flush right here, right? If you look at it, right, if you go at 2200, this came all the way down to 21. That's 15 points. Well, I'm sorry, 2200 down to 2285. That's 15 points. That's tough, right? You gotta have some grit to hold on to that, right? So what I like to see is the strength in the candle, right? 5-minute chart, sometimes a 3-minute chart, sometimes a 1-minute chart, but 3 minutes is good. 5 minutes can be good. So you can see what happened right here, right? We started triangulate. Oh, we got the channel tool up here. We started triangulate right here, right? Nice little inside candle, inside 5-minute candle, and that's your key right there, right? Because we pushed above that, we broke it as trend, and there's your entry right above that level right there. Boom, big move up right here. Entry here 22.20 all the way up to 22.45. Okay, for a for a huge move, for a 25-point move. And then if you have some runners on that one, right, then you can just kind of set it up, right? And we talked about this, right? So you can get here, you can put on your exponential moving average. Okay, you can get your ADMA on here. Okay, and as long as it holds this, right, you can continue to hold, right? So here, this is just kind of just a gift right here. This next, another 20-point candle as it basically just moves sideways, tagged your ADMA, and then launched again, right? For me, that's a good trade right there. And then, if you're super brave, after that, if you still have some runners, if this candle here doesn't get you out, right, and it holds. Now, one thing you can do is you can look to re-enter. So I would never hold through this, right? I would just go ahead. I'd take profit right here. I can see it consolidating, right? This is the ADMA is starting to flatten and starting to come down. Look for another entry. If this thing still wants to be strong, right, then what's it going to do? It's going to break out again, right? And you just get another triangle up on here. Boom, breakout candle here. Good increasing volume, right? And just then ride that ADMA up again, right? So you can always take another shot at it, right, for another move up. So great move on the gap and go on that one, and then just reference the daily chart, right? Reference the daily chart with it. So where can this thing go, right? You got your fib fan lines up here, things like check out your ATRs. How big is it, right? The last day was 142. This way is 105. So if I can get like an 85-point move out of that, that's pretty darn good, right? We actually had another gap and go again, right, on Thursday, right? We gapped above this level right here, which was the new all-time high, and they gave a push again, right? And so now we've kind of pulled back a little bit. It's kind of getting consolidated there. But anyway, that's the concept of the gap and go, guys. Look for these levels. Look for these major pivot levels. It doesn't have to be at all-time highs. Those are great. All-time highs are great though, because that's kind of the line, definitely the line in the sand for the bears. But sometimes over a long period of time, it's just a major pivot. It could be like, pivot like this one right here. But, just a good, long pivot. Sometimes gapping over those on news, can really squeeze out a lot of shorts. And you can kind of ride those up. So anyway, good stuff. So at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window. And we'll get through as many as we can and try to wrap up as early as possible so we can all get an awesome night's sleep and have another great trading day tomorrow and on a fresh week. So good stuff. Are we seeing everything here? Good. Okay, good. Awesome. Well, Shirley sent a few in by email here, so we're going to check these out. So let's take a look here. We've got PFE, so Pfizer. Okay, so Pfizer gave a nice move. This week we were talking about professional gaps, things like that. So it wasn't a great professional gap right here, but it was tight, right? So we gapped above this prior day right here, came back, tested, and came up to the 200-day moving average. So again, Pfizer is bullish, still proven otherwise. You could believe it, even after all kind of the nonsense that it's been through coming down here, right? So, not a huge Corona mover, but it's been working its way out. Just be careful there. It's at the 200-day moving average, but it is above the cloud with some good volume. So see if you can close above that 200 moving average and work its way up a little bit. And then we got Lily. Ela. All right, good. So we got this going on right here. Here's your highs. There's your pivot. I love when the ADMA corresponds with our trend lines right here. Yeah, so this is very, very bullish. You got earnings coming up here, so see if that can continue to work its way to the upside. mRNA finally got out of its crazy. Guys, this is a gap and go one too, right? So this is a little bit trickier, right? So this is high volatility stock. We gapped above these levels right here, right? And really, honestly, he had to be in this one, right? Because this gapped up in reverse. And we'll talk about that a little bit more this week too, when reversals happen. So at this point, I'd kind of relax with this one, see if it comes back, fades the gap a little bit, and continues to go from there. So good stuff on that one. VZ, Verizon. Again, just kind of just kind of slowly clawing its way up right here. I do like how it closed. We didn't have quite the volume there, but I like how it closed over the 200-day, right? And it closed over a lot of key levels right here. So a little bit of a kind of a cut pattern right here that's trying to break out of. Just doesn't have the volume to do it. Earnings coming up soon too. And then Microsoft, Mr. Softy. So Microsoft, nice move. We have this channel right here. See these green lines. So we've been kind of working our way up this channel here. Again, it's taken us, it's trying to work its way up here to all-time highs. Very, very strong, big volume coming in, big move out of this congestion zone, right? A couple nice candles that were working its way up, and let's see if we can get above a couple of these levels, kind of open gap above on that one. So good stuff. Thanks for those, Shirley. Michael, what's going on? Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. Cleo, what's going on? Thanks for making it. Apple, let's take a look. Good. All right. So Apple's actually looking pretty good here. The only thing is we still have a declining 50 moving average. I like how the 8 is over the 21 now, and we're back over the 50. So it just looks like it might want to do a little work in here. We have we're right at the cloud right now, and let's see if it can hold that, right, and then try to get above it. That's kind of like one of the key things right now. So, but good volume on Friday. Let's see if it can continue to work its way up here. We're kind of all the real bodies are almost basically contained by that mother bar right there. So it's something to keep an eye on. And what else? Boeing, yeah, absolutely. I really like Boeing. It's starting to look really good right here. It got really, really tight. It's following this channel up right here. Inside day up, right? We closed right at the 21, the 21 day right here. Good volume, right? We're showing some strength here out of a triangle like pattern right here, right? So you can kind of see this. So let's see if we can get a little bit of strength here going into Monday, and then try to continue to work its way up. Let's take a look at blue. Blue, looking pretty interesting. Bluebird Bio. Nice gap up. This could turn into a doji sandwich. I really like the volume on Friday. So see if that can get another move up here. So big move, doji, big move. Right? Doji sandwich. So let's see if it can work its way up off of that. Try to get over the 50 moving average on that one. And then Grub. Grub's looking pretty good. So getting tight. Got tight right here. So it's trying to show that it's getting out of this triangle. 50 moving average is above. So see if we can get any follow through on that one on Monday. So good stuff there. Oh, real quick, guys, let's take a look at the futures. Just see where we're at right now. So we're down 15. We've had an interesting session so far tonight. Inside day so far on the futures. I just want to show you guys what we're looking at here going into tonight. Okay, so we had initially a gap down. We went live with our group this evening on these futures right here. Nice short move down. Then we had a double inside 15 up for a little bit. Couldn't get over the prior day's 15 orb, right? And then it eventually just gave a nice big move up right here. Very, very strong move right out of this downward trend here. Okay, and then we've kind of pulled back a little bit off that big upper shadow at yesterday's highs. A lot of selling pressure up here, right? So that upper shadow kind of led the way down, right? We also had a double inside 5 that worked its way down, right? And now here we are back below this prior 15 orb range right there. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up here because we didn't mention that earlier today. So good stuff. ZEK, yeah, let's take a look at Netflix. Yep, so Netflix, great stuff here too. Didn't quite do a gap and go for us here, at these prior levels, but definitely gave a nice move up. 3 white soldiers up, and then gave a nice little, spinning top up here, doji, and then reversed off of it a bit on Friday. So let's see. I like the lower shadow right here. I like how it's holding, right? So we may just get some sideways action, but if it didn't want to break down right below these lows, could tag the 8, right, and then maybe even come back to the trend line. We've got earnings coming up on Tuesday, so that's going to be a big deal for Netflix. I think with those earnings, a lot of times it doesn't move too much on earnings, but I think this one might be interesting. So CODX, great breakout on Thursday out of this triangle, right? Huge volume, right? And then it gapped down, tried to push above it, and just ran out of strength, right? So that's kind of one of those things there. It breaks above that prior day's high, right? You got to raise stops on the way up, and then so you don't get hit on that pullback, especially with a kind of a funky, spready type stock like CODX. But see how that holds there. Big upper shadow right there. See if it holds the cloud for you. Facebook, of course, looking very interesting, right? So if you go to the those highs there, we got this kind of trend line here. We got this, right? So a little bit, it's getting tight in here. You're at your 50-day. I feel like it's this cloud might be some resistance for it, and it might come back and at least retest that upper trend line. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Great stuff. Thanks for tuning in. The Nest, what's going on? INO. Yeah, INO. So it was triangulating. We started to break down out of the triangle. Not a lot of volume on it, so it just kind of drifted down a little bit. If anything, all it's done is expand the triangle, right? So you just kind of have this, right? And so right now, right, we're starting to break out a little bit. It's getting interesting right there. It's right at that triangle there. Let's see if we can give it another day that can confirm above that with some good volume, and then INO might be ready to go again. Could be interesting. Lake. Let's take a look. Wow, Lake is getting so tight here, guys. Yeah. So again, it pivoted off of these levels right here. We couldn't get a good confirmation candle out of this triangle, so we have this going on and this going on, right? So we're getting kind of tight in here. Let's see if we can give a breakout one way or the other with some volume. And then DAL. Oh yeah, these airlines. I tell you, they did give a decent move up. late March, and then on hopes of bailout money and all that stuff. And I think they did get their bailout stuff, and then now we're just kind of here. So it's just getting these are tough candles to trade. These kind of teeny little, you have huge volume on these nothing days, and they just don't do anything, right? So we are definitely range bound, okay, and we may stay range bound until earnings. And then I can't imagine the earnings are any good, but sometimes you see some crazy reversals off of those. So just kind of keep an eye on that. If we gap above that range, that would be interesting as well for a potential gap and go. So good stuff on there. Work. A lot of work. Playing the strings here on the way up, right? So lots of upper shadows at this level, right? So upper shadow, right? That was actually kind of a nice down move right here. Seems to be holding on a little bit. Let's see if we can get a breakout move on this one. If we can get a breakout on work, right, we might start to see, some real strength on this, and then, try to test some of its prior highs, right? But it does look like an inverse head and shoulders working right here. So again, let's see if we can get a breakout, candle over those levels for this thing to get going. It's good stuff. Stacy, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're doing well. Jorge, what's up? Good evening. Yeah, it was good. I hope you had a great one too and are feeling well. Yeah, market's getting tight. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, it should be a good week this week. Should be a fun one. Oscar, don't forget we have Fed at the end of the month too. That'll be fun too. Oscar, what's going on? Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, let's take a look at the SPY. So SPY looking pretty interesting, right? We had a little inside day, gapped up. We left a little gap right here. We're right at the 50 moving average, right? We're coming right into the cloud. It looks a lot like a lot of names, right? It looks like Apple, Roku, Facebook. We're seeing a lot of the very, very similar patterns, right? Indexing, you know how it goes. So we got some upper gaps above, but again, it's still trending up. So bullish still proving otherwise. So we'll see if these futures tonight prove. Well, actually, wait, no. Yeah, well, futures are still down a little bit, so we'll see what they do into the morning. It's, these days futures could do anything, or we could be up 100 by the open tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so see how it goes, and we'll kind of just keep an eye on it. It's been pretty fun to trade recently, so that's been good. Brian, what's going on? How can you stop selling too fast and leave tons of profit on the table? That's a great question. So one of my friends on Twitter actually sent a. Reposted a good post he did. I would recommend reading this tonight. Give me 1 second, guys. There. Hold on, guys. Give me 2 seconds here. Let me post this for you. Definitely read this one. Okay, this is a good one here. So by Trading Composure by Ivan Biaggi. So check that out at the bottom of the chat box. Definitely read through that. That's a good one. The idea is, right, Brian? So it's tough, right? You have to have a system in place that allows you to do that, right? So the important thing is to evaluate what you're doing in those trades, right? So what are you seeing? What's making you go long, for instance, right? And what type of position, what type of size do you have on your trade? Are you just totally committing to the trade, or are you kind of inching into the trade and adding a little bit as it's working for you, right? And what's your conditions to get out? Right, so so one of the things, right, is we talked we did a whole series on trend and detecting trend last week, right? So once you can detect that trend, right, using the moving average trends, using the ADMA, right, as long as you stay above that ADMA, right, a lot of times that's enough, right, especially if we're trending on that day, right? And so just by staying above that, right, is sometimes enough to stay in the trade for a little bit. Just little things like that, little tweaks like that, candle by candle sometimes, right? If you go back to Amazon. Right, we can get real nervous. Especially if you're staring at a 1 minute chart, right? But if you're looking at a chart and you're seeing it's nice and green, and there's a good setup on the daily, right here, like it's working its way up, right? And then you're trading it, right, on the intraday basis, right, and it's moving, right? I mean, you can just use candlesticks, right? So I mean, here you can get candlestick move, just trail, and then you're good up to here. Right, and then it takes you out, but you can always get back in. Just look for the next pattern if you're still interested in it, right? And you can get back in. You don't have to just sit in it the whole time. You can always re-enter, right? So that's the idea right there. And then just that simple ADMA can keep you in that trade for a very long time. See that? And that's on the 15. This is not the 5. So the longer the time frame you move out, right, the less noise. You got to be more patient though. So if you're used to trading on the 1 minute chart, switching to the 15 might drive you nuts for a while. But if you're confident in the candlestick setups and you're confident in the setup and the move, especially on a macro basis, like on the daily, if you know it's working on a gap and go and volume's coming in and strong, right, then you can trade it a little bit differently. So you got to evaluate it, right, and see where you're at. And then you could leave some off. You could take some profit right here. Let's say you have 100 shares, right? You take some off. You take 50 shares off and just let the other 50 run, right? I mean, whatever whatever's comfortable. You don't have to go all in on a trade, right? That's kind of one of the usually that's one of the things I see is that leaving tons of money on the table is that there a lot of we tend to put in too much at the beginning and then it pulls back a little bit. We want out, right? Because we want to capitalize on the profits that we do have, right? But if you have some runners, right, or you scale in, right, on something that makes sense, it's tough, but you got to monitor it. You just got to kind of keep an eye on it the whole time, and it can be crazy, it can be frustrating, but scale down a little bit so you get to a system that works for you, especially on training days. Definitely go back, right? Definitely go back and run on demand, right? In Thinkorswim or use whatever software you use, and Trading Sim is one that you can use to replay the day. Especially on one of your trades, and be like, okay, what was I doing here? What was I not seeing, right? Because here, I mean, this gets pretty scary, right? We tagged the fib family, we got a double inside 15, and then we broke down. That's a pretty big move, right? I mean, that's like a range of that candle, 16 points. That's a huge move down, right? So you have to ask yourself, am I committed to holding that 80 MA, right? Or whatever it is, whatever your trading system is, right? So maybe look at going in a little bit here. Hey, if this works, I'll take profit up here, but I'll let a runner run and I'll let it hold maybe 50% of that candle, and as long as that goes right, I'll just kind of scale in. I'll use my levels and try to kind of trail those up. So check out that link at the bottom, and then hopefully some of the things I said there might help you a little bit too. Michael, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Let's take a look. All right, so let's see. So we've got Tesla. Yeah, so Tesla just squeezed out tons of bears last week. I mean, so it might be done this week. They might be trying to do it. It might pull back a little bit here, but I mean, it is bullish until proven otherwise. We're back above the cloud. It was some pullback on Friday, but low volume, right? So maybe gearing up. Might go sideways for a little bit. Just look for some news and some strength on that one to see if we can keep pushing. T-Doc. Again, that was pulling back a little bit too because of some Corona recovery type news, right? On a couple of these, so Zoom was pulling back, T-Doc. Things like this. So you can look for a push, above this 176 level. See if it caps above that and gives a move. Zoom, same thing. I know it was only down 20 cents, but a lot of these got kind of pulled back recently. So Zoom kind of spinning top right here, holding a that prior double inside day breakout level. So see if that gets any strength. There it is. Still bullish. Docu. Okay, yeah, so Docu is an interesting one, right? It took that diamond pattern up, which is pretty cool. It got out of the megaphone high right here. Gave you a spinning top, pulled back again, but it's still holding its 80 MA, so it's got some potential strength there. ZS, the Z-scaler. Ooh, a little dangerous. The evening star reversal, guys, on this one. I'm going to put that on the short radar for tomorrow. Thanks for bringing that one up. Look at that. I like that evening star reversal. Give me 1 second. That's a pretty looking pattern right there. That looks pretty much like 50% of the prior range. Good enough, right? Let's see. Range of this candle right here. 4.5 point. It looks really, really close. We could do this real quick. Hold on. Here. Might not be an exact 50%, but really, really close. Yeah, I didn't quite close below 50%, but golly, it's super duper close on that one. It's about as close as you can get. But big upper shadow right there, real body above this real body, and then closing really close to 50% on that one. So you may get some follow. If the market's weak tomorrow, if this one's weak tomorrow, definitely something to keep an eye on there. So I'm going to put it on the short radar just in case for tomorrow. Let's take a look there. Give me 1 second, guys. Good. Okay, good. All right, good stuff, good stuff. All right, so that is ZS and then ABT. Okay, ABT, a little bit of a hanging man up here, so just be careful with that one too. So nice push above the, its highs, right? And big candle, good volume, earnings. Looks like a little bit of profit taking up here. Just see if that turns into a hanging man. Might pull back and at least retest the scene of the breakout on that one. So good stuff. Yeah, let's take a look at Snap. Yep, Snap, we got earnings coming up on this one. Yeah, earnings coming up inside day, getting really tight. Getting pretty tight right here. We can kind of just go. Kind of take that guy here. Yeah, getting very, very tight. This thing's looking like it's ready to make a move, doesn't it? So inside day right at the bottom of this triangle right here. We could actually kind of stretch it if we want to. Here, let's go like this. Right there. So this thing looks like it's ready to break out one way or another. A triangle right into the cloud. Right into the cloud. So who knows? It may pull back after this a little bit, and then earnings might push it back up. So a little bit of a binary event coming forward on that one. But that could be interesting too. Looking interesting for sure. Michael, only shop at Gap. Best trade deals. That's right, exactly. Nice, good. Let's take a look. And then SPCE, everybody's favorite one to get distracted with, right? So double inside day, right? Double inside day on that one. Very, very tight on Friday. See if it can, kind of push up and get back over its 50 moving average. I don't even know what this company does. I think they book future flights to space. Sir Richard Branson's will have it. It's just like they had bad earnings. They had no real guidance on anything. They had no news, and I think maybe they're kind of trying to help make some medical devices, stuff like that. Anyway, so it's just a fun trader stock that sometimes they load into intraday. So anyway, good stuff. Who knows? Tesla may buy this company out one day. That's a possibility. So we'll see. SMDC4S, presented and accounted for. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend and everybody's healthy and well. Boeing opening up out your way. Matt, what's going on? Lulu, let's take a look. Lulu, yeah, what a day on Friday. Big strong day. Good volume, good candle right here. Right, this is an old price level. I don't need that right there. So look at that, trying to get out of the cloud. Looks bullish, right? So let's add that to the radar for tomorrow. So it's a tricky one to trade, but golly, guys, Brian, this thing trended nicely on Friday. Look at this. Just pulling at your ADMA right here. Got real tight, triangle, breakout, volume, held the 15 all for the rest of the day. I mean, the ADMA on the 15 all the rest of the day. I mean, it's tough. I mean, no one said trading is easy. It's simple. It's just not easy, right? So you just got patience. Check out that article I posted at the bottom too. It's just good insight on that stuff. But yeah, Lulu very, very strong. Matt, nice one. Samara, what's going on? GM. I thought you were saying good morning. I was like, wait, it's not morning. Yeah, GM getting pretty tight here too. We saw these levels recently. We never really broke above them, right? So now we're just kind of, maybe kind of breaking out of a little triangle right here. Good volume on Friday. So see if we can start to make a move. I mean, these guys need to sell cars, right? Not make ventilators. I mean, I'm happy they're helping people out and all that stuff, but these guys are just tough. The car business is getting slammed. As is retail. I mean, that's what happens when the economy goes bad. That your frontline retails, they get hurt because people don't buy, especially expensive products, right? GMs, right? Not cheap. Anyway, good candle here on KMI. It's got some work to do, right? So we're above this trend line right here. You got your pivot level right here, right at about 16, and then earnings coming up pretty soon. So good stuff. Good. Ryan, let's get this bread. Jorge, yeah. Richard, what's going on? What software am I using? Thinkorswim. Yep. Baggish, what's going on? Good evening. Manu, what's happening? Yeah, Netflix and Boeing. Let's take a look. Yeah, so Netflix, interesting up here, right? Yeah, earnings coming up on Tuesday. It's going to be a big news, right? So to see how they really performed, right, during the whole Corona thing. Like, my whole thing is like, everybody that's got Netflix has got Netflix. And so if you're staying at home and you got Netflix, right, then you're going to watch Netflix. But I just can't imagine anybody that, like, is staying at home and they're like, oh, let's get Netflix. That type of thing, right? So, I mean, if it just doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't add up. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm sure more people are watching Netflix. Just, I'm not sure how many new signups they got. There might be a little bit. It might be enough to push the number a little bit. But we'll see how that goes. But anyway, a little pullback up here. Upper shadow, spinning top. Now, red candle on Friday. It's still holding its ADMA right here and still holding its trend. It's a little extended, but, let's see what earnings, has to say Tuesday after the close. And then Boeing, getting real tight here, guys. Again, kind of we're working our way up the channel, potentially, right? We got a nice triangle right here. We started to break out of that on Friday. So let's see if we can get some follow through. It's all going to be about follow through on Monday, Tuesday. See what it could do. Rahul, yeah, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. DBX getting toit. Getting very, very toit here. Right? So it's a big triangle move right here. It's right at the cloud. It's right at the 2-day moving average. Lots of sideways action. Right? It needs a breakout candle. It really does. It needs like that, and then some volume, and see if it can work its way up to those prior highs. So that'd be cool. Shop, unbelievable move, guys. It's like, everybody's looking at Amazon, everybody's looking at Netflix, and Shop's just soaring. Huge moves. I mean, this close right here, good volume over the 50-day, beautiful. Big gap up over the cloud, volume, good. Decrease volume on an inside day, nice, right? Follow through over that, good. Gap and go, right? Or pushed over this level right here, boom. Another gap up, huge off of that, off of increased volume, big volume on Friday, and now we're right. I mean, literally spitting distance from all-time highs. Super strong. So see if that gets a push over that on might be a gap and go contender on Friday. Just be careful with the option spreads, can be funky. Yep, and then Amazon again super strong. Not quite as much of a pullback. Didn't put in a red candle on Friday. Pulled back, but it reversed really strong, right? So nice spinning top right here, Harami. So see if it serves as a Harami cross right here to continue to work its way up. And then BIIB. Yep. So BIB, interesting, right? I mean, the trend is up, okay? So, but it does look a bit like a hanging man right here, so just be careful. That may still pull back off of that. Might test its ADMA. The Nest, yeah, APT. Let's take a look. Also getting tight Alpha Protect, yeah. So this one was down a little bit too on the Corona recovery stuff, but if everybody gets better from Corona, no one's buying face masks. Anyway, see if you can break out above these levels right here. Here's your first recent pivot, small pivot right here that you get above, and then you got this guy here, right at the cloud. So really, really tricky stuff, but it's getting really, really tight. So see if, things get bad over here, this is one to go to, right? There's a relapse or something like that, right? So something to keep an eye on there. FSLY. Michael, FSLY, yeah. Big spinning top right here, good volume. Right, lots of selling pressure up here. Just because it's a funky move up, but it's certainly moving up. Up, sideways, and then up again. Voila. Bullish still proven otherwise. Guild. Yeah, I mean, huge move. Right, finally got out of this. Look at this mess. Right, and then made even more of a mess. Right, couldn't get over all-time highs. We looked at this as on our gap and go list for Friday. It couldn't gap above that 85.97. Pulled back, and then it was we'll talk about reversals more this week. So good stuff. Heather, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Session, what's happening? AVGO. Yeah, nice close here. Good volume over the 50-day moving average. Just watch out for this pivot level right here. It's a tough one to trade, Session. Careful with that one. But when it's ready to go, it can go. It gives some nice intraday moves, too. Triple M, this thing just hasn't gotten anywhere. I mean, it had this little pennant right here. I mean, it's kind of forming a bigger triangle. It's just so like range bound right now. So just be careful with that. It might just go range bound into the cloud, and then we'll see if it can break out of the cloud one way or the other. Regeneron, tricky one to trade. Big move on Friday. So very, very nice close on Friday. So strong, right? Bullish still proven otherwise on that one. In fact, I'm gonna put that on the bullish radar as well. Good. Home Depot. Home Depot, just doing a lot of nothing right now. Gapped up, hit the 50-day moving average. Really tricky price action in here. I like the little double bottoms right here. It's kind of like a little Space Invaders type pattern. Anyway, still holding the ADMA right here. So see how it handles that 50-day. Again, it's been tough. It's been kind of out of play a little bit. The spreads have been tricky. Coop hanging in there. Nice lower shadow. A bit of a hammer. See if it works its way to the upside. Good. Baggish, yeah. Eat. Let's take a look. Spinning top right here, tricky one to trade. Obviously getting getting tight in there. IMAX, yeah, these are all ones that these two ones here are tough, right? With people not going out, but nice, decent little Northern Doji right there. It's still pretty range bound right there on the there, but nice volume, so it might get it going again. Roku, again, very similar to a lot of these. It got out of the cloud, which is nice. Right, nice strong candle right there, but then it couldn't break above it, right? So we got an inside day right there. It was down a little bit red. So keep an eye on it. If it breaks down that inside day low, it may come back, try to test some gaps. So it might slide down the cloud a little bit here too. Possibility. Okay, Nvidia's been on a warpath. It really has been. It's been just following this. It finally got out of this macro geometric trend line right here. He had a good candle right here, inside day up, another inside day here. Pulled back a little bit, but let's see if it can hold those levels. Get over that 298. Obviously 300 is going to be a key level for it to get going. So that'll be a big one. And then Zoom. Yeah, just getting tight in here again. Still trending up. So let's see if we can continue to work on that. Good. Nevin, what's going on? Let's take a look. Yeah, Netflix. Yeah, so Netflix, interesting pullback the other day. Right, spinning top right here, red candle right here, but it's still over the ADMA. If it did pull back, just see if it holds that ADMA. Cool one. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Jay, what's going on? Cool. Yeah, FTNT. Let's take a look there. Yeah, nice hammer right here as it closed above some levels. So let's see, it's coming over the cliff of the cloud, but I like the volume right there. Let's see if I can try to work its way up on that one. And then AXP. This one's been really tough to trade with options, but nice. Nice, basically almost professional gap up right here. So held pretty well. It's back up to 80 MA. So see if we can get above there, and then maybe we can get a gold cross. We're seeing a lot. We're in the chop slop right now on AXP. Yep, Netflix got that for sure. Session, yeah. Disney. The Diz. Yep, yep. So Disney, just kind of there. Again, it's getting close to this pivot level, so it needs to close above that and try to work its way up. That's tough with the news. I mean, they got to open their parks up and start filming again, right? With all their stuff. So it's they're probably gonna have a rough earnings report coming up. I would have to imagine. This Schrodinger right here still triangulating a little bit more right here. So just keep an eye on this triangle right here, see if it breaks out one way or the other. For sure. Jeff, what's going on? Yeah, let's take a look. So we got the Boeing. Let's take a look. Boeing, nice triangle right here, right? On the intraday, we're kind of working our way up this kind of slightly, this green channel right here, but a bit of a triangle here too. You can kind of just use the end of this for a triangle. Little breakout candle here on Friday. Good volume. See if we can get some follow through the upside. Otherwise, it's still a little bit choppy, but let's see if we can try to push and give us some confirmation on that. So good stuff. Baggish, yeah. In the future, can we go over some patterns? Yeah. We've talked about patterns in the past, but yeah, happy to do it. Happy to do it again. We'll do a whole series on it. Keep things interesting. So good stuff. Yeah, Jorge. Yeah, my pleasure. Jay. All right, let's take a look. See what we got. So you got TLT. Zubons. Getting tight. All right, a little triangle action right here. No volume on the gap up. So you got this pivot level right here. It kind of has to close above. So over Friday's highs could get interesting. J&J. Yeah, it's been very, very nice. I pointed this out in the Twitter stream the other day. It looked like it's been trending up and had a nice little setup intraday. So kind of working its way up a little bit. I mean, you could debate that it's working on like a rising wedge type thing, but still bullish until proven otherwise. BMY. Good. Yeah, just got over its macro trend line right there at the cloud. Good volume. Let's see if we can get out of the cloud with a good candle, get some follow through to the upside. That'd be nice. AbbVie, spinning top at the 50-day. So see if we can hold that as potential support. And then PFE. Okay. And then PFE just holding trend right here, right at the 200-day. Great stuff. Samara, what's going on? How to add labels on levels? Is there a script for setting to do it? Like so here where I wrote prior resistance. All you do is you go down here. If you're using Thinkorswim, just go to the bottom right here, and then see this. If you go, you can't see here. It's called price level. So your trend line. So your top left is a hand. Right next to it is a pointer. Right below the hand is a trend line, and right below the pointer is a dollar sign. And you can just kind of click on that, and you just put a level up there, right? And then all you got to do is right-click on it and be like, rename level. Right? You can call it whatever you want to, right? And then you just call it rename level. So that's how you can put labels on it. Okay. And then you could also go to the text box tool too if you want to. Just hit the T and say, like macro row DTL. If I want to remind myself what line that was, right? I could put like a label on that too. So good. Papa Mentos, what's going on? Yeah, Codex. So Codex, big move, right? Big move on Thursday. Little follow through on Friday. Big upper shadow now. Be careful if it breaks down below Friday's lows, right? It might come back, test the scene of the breakout on that one, or just use your 50, your 50% retrace as a potential level of support. Good, yeah. And then APT again, getting tight right here. Probably needs some news to get going again. But really, really tight. It's in the chop zone for sure. Cherry, what's going on? Yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, you got Roku. Yep, so Roku inside day pulled back. It is holding the 200-day moving average, so it's starting to work its way up pretty nicely. So again, to see what how it holds. I feel like it is going to put in like another inside day, but it feels like it's getting a little bit. I don't know, a little bit extended here. A little bit. You got your RSIs overbought, right? So just be careful with that. Just see how it handles that inside day going into tomorrow. And then mRNA, big gap up on Friday and pulled back, but it did leave a lower shadow. So let's look at that for some intraday price action. And then CRWD. And we'll talk more about that gap. We're going to talk about gap reversals too this week as well. So why would it reverse when when a gap and go is possible? And then CRWD, yeah, again, bullish till proven otherwise right here. Just watch this. It's, next it's coming into a little bit of selling pressure up here, right? This kind of pivot level. So if it kind of slow grinds on it, you might see a reversal off of that. So just kind of watch this trend line. I'm kind of shift that a little bit there. Here, shift that a little bit there. Okay, so we hold that. See how we hold this trend line, and if it breaks down below there, right, could get could get bearish. So there's something to keep an eye on right there. But it's starting to get out of the cloud, so it's looking okay now. Good. Might give you a little doji sandwich up, but just watch these levels up here. Good. Cool one. Yeah, Vive. Yeah, breaking close. I mean, this one's definitely holding trend here. So it's looking pretty good. Vive's trying this a little spready on its options here, but it did get the inside day up. A little low volume today, but watch these levels here. So a little ascending triangle if we can get over those highs. So good stuff. The next, yeah, ATVI. Okay, yeah, so ATVI, nice. Lower shadow right here, holding the ADMA so far. So this is the type of thing that ATVI does. Right? I can't trade this one because of how crazy it is, right? These upper shadows just make it so nuts. It just doesn't like to go, right? It gave one nice candle right here. You got a nice gift horse trade right here, and everybody's like, what do you think? I was like, just be careful with it, right? And then what does it do? Gaps down and makes it just really challenging. So it might just be like just kind of take all this mess right here and just kind of shift it up here. It's kind of probably what it's into right now. It's just tough for these things to break out with any. They don't they make games and for some reason just that's it, right? It's just not very exciting, right, for the market. So but just be careful with that. That's all. And then PayPal, yeah, trying to come out of the cloud here a little bit here too. PayPal's another tough one to trade too. It's like the ATVI of the finance stocks. I don't trade this one anymore. It's just so tough. Elliott wave on shop, possible, yeah. I mean, it would be obviously an impulsive wave, right? So, so if you can get a channel on it, that type of thing. I mean, I don't know. This might just be wave 1 up right here, right? So you might see a wave 2 pullback, right, and then wave 3, and this just thing keeps on going. Might be up. Who knows? Might be up to 1,000 before you know it. Cleo, yeah. Have a great trading day, of course. Ness, how to determine support and resistance levels and make triangles. Can you do a 1-minute demo? Yeah, I've got I did a. Let me see if I can find it right here. Give me 1 second. I just did a triangle video in the 3-minute series. Give me 1 second. Go to channel, my YouTube. Go to the channel playlists, and go to the less than 3 technical analysis in less than 3 minutes. And we've got the triangle one right here. I just did this one. This is a good one. So check out that one here. So that's a good 3-minute one, and support and resistance, right? That's just the main thing with support and resistance. We, just real quick. I mean, here, this is great with Shopify, right? See any of these major pivot levels, right? Here's your all-time highs. That's a key level, right? This turning point pivot right here. If you can see how that turn is pivoting, get a level right there. That's a key level, right? This turning point pivot, that was a key level, especially at the cloud too, right? And then down here, right? This is going to be a key level, right? So yeah, that's a good idea to do a 3-minute video on that for sure. And JRGR, yeah, Ruger, just kind of slow grinding its way up there, and then you find these things. Johnson out, Jout. I don't know where you can find these things. Anyway, nice triangle right here on this one. So see if that can break out of there one way or the other. Good stuff. Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, good stuff, guys. Well, really appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. I hope everybody had a great weekend, and I hope everybody has an even better trading week coming up this week. So thank you for tuning in. If you're new here, definitely click subscribe on YouTube, and please hit the like button whether you're new here or not. We always appreciate that. And then you can also check out the links in the description. You can see our Twitter page there on our website. Costco, the Nest. Yeah, inside day, great move from last week, right? We had a nice inside day up. Another inside day up. Are we doing another inside day up? We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Pulled it back a little bit, but see how it handles those levels. Again, you got these key levels right here to look at. So good stuff. All right, guys. Well, I hope everybody has a great night. Thank you again for tuning in. Stay healthy out there. And remember your risk first and stay safe.